Hi, everybody. It's Stephanie. I am going to be taking you on a awesome journey. So today I'm going to be lecturing on one of the websites here that I found that I absolutely love. This is a must, you guys. If you do not have any knowledge of FARE, which is the Food Allergy Research and Education site, this is one of the best sites that you can go to for getting information about allergies and how to deal with them. I think a lot of people have their own protocols on when it comes to allergies and what they should be aware of and how they should do things. But this really prepares teachers on a whole different level. In your green or yellow book that is set up by the CDA, we have three functional areas that we're going to be focusing on, which are safety, healthy, and learning environment. This is all a part of to establish and maintain a safe and healthy learning environment. When we're talking about creating a safe and healthy and learning environment, we're going to be tapping into a couple of things. One, we want to make sure that the environment is safe for all children. So we want to look at indoors and outdoors. We want to make sure that they're free of any kind of debris, particles that can cause harm, anything that might be hazardous. We also want to look at any dangerous substances that may have fallen out. You know, there's a lot of times where kids have gotten hold of medication or even needles that people have thrown into a play area, and it is the worst feeling ever when you go into a environment and you really haven't done a safety check and the child gets hold of something. You know, especially those toddlers and those infants, they can really get a hold of things within seconds, and you just blows your mind. The next thing I want you to remember too is any kind of cleaning products, toxic plants. That's something else that you want to start looking around in your play yards and things like that. Sometimes mushrooms will grow or things like that. Or there might be a shrub or a bush or some leaves or something like that, or that are growing in your environment that are actually considered poisonous. So it's best to clean a lot of that stuff off, keep it nice and bare, and keep it good to go for the kids. Also, we have toy and equipment needs to meet all safety standards. Each state has their own safety standards, so please make sure you refer back to that. Um, Safety equipment, such as an extinguisher or smoke detectors, please make sure that you guys have those in your center and they are being checked before they expired so that you are ready to go for the next following term or quarter, however you do your safety check on that. All children's materials need to be non-toxic and non-flammable. Furniture should be appropriate for children and be their size. We also want to make sure that we cover those outlets, you guys. Make sure that they don't stick anything in there. I know some outlets in some centers are kind of higher, and so make sure that you do not have any outlets where children can reach. Heating units are secured. Wall and furnitures don't have any sharp edges. Rugs and all carpets lie flat. This has happened before where a kiddo trips over a rug, or even yourself may trip over a rug. So make sure that you are keeping everything safe and secure. Also, we want to think about the exits, make sure that they're all marked properly and they are not blocked by anything that could possibly get in your way. You also want to make sure that you have any safety gear that you may actually need for any kind of accident, such as gloves or goggles, or you may need certain protective gear. We're talking a lot about this protective gear now because of COVID. So this is something I want you to keep in mind. The next thing I want you to keep in mind as well is making sure that your emergency procedures are well planned out and your supplies are evident. For example, like your first aid kits, they need to be marked clearly. Your escape route needs to be marked clearly. Also, one of the things that you need to have clearly marked is where does your medication belong, and make sure that it's locked up and out of reach of children. Do not leave children alone or unauthorized with any adults that shouldn't be. You want to make sure that you know your basic CPR and first aid. There's some states that say you must have a CPR and first aid person in each room. Some say at least one in each room. And then there's some states like mine that say everybody has to have them. So also you want to make sure that your little ones are not being released to anybody. That they're not supposed to be. Everyone should have a copy of a child's pickup and drop off list, basically who should be picking them up and who would be dropping them off. Having those time frames down, that's going to really help to make sure that you are keeping all of your kids safe and secure. I also want to go over a couple of safety practices when it comes to supervision. So, a lot of times, teachers may go on breaks. They may be sick for the day, so a substitute comes in to cover their class. One of the things I want to suggest is that you actually have the same person that does breaks in that classroom be the substitute for that class. So that way, if you have children with allergies or certain needs, it's all being met. I had at one point like 7 or 8 kids that actually had food allergies, and it was insane. It was like we were constantly on every single step because we were so afraid of a child getting something they shouldn't have. So we always try to keep the same people involved, same person that does the cooking involved, or the same person that would be the backup cook, and they were familiar with all the pieces that go along with the food. We also want to make sure that the food itself is safe for the children too, and it does not cause any choking. So for instance, like hot dogs, any kind of like popcorn, nuts, marshmallows, gummy candies, hard candies, seeds, cherries, things like that. Those are all the pieces that can actually cause children to choke. The other part that I want to make sure that we go over before I jump into this is making sure that you have all of your procedures documented and posted so that teachers can see it or they can go somewhere to refer to it. Because a lot of times teachers will say, oh, I got it. And then all of a sudden they may have forgotten, or there may be something really busy going on and they don't know really where to go with that. So this would help out a lot. So I want to take you to the FARE website. So basically, if you come here to the homepage here, there is a spot that says educator. Okay. So you go right to the educational piece, and also to, they have all of these drop down boxes where you can actually find information. They have different webinars and trainings. One of the things that I would really suggest is if you are um, if you have a center or you have an in-home, take the classes that they have for the trainings. They're actually very good. I love the fact that they have this available so that you have a resource. A lot of times people think, well, I'm not a large, early learning center, so I cannot, get the assistance that I need, but use these resources to help you grow your network and grow your teacher's knowledge. So they have all these different sections. I don't know if you saw up here where it said resources, and then living with food allergies, and you go right here to educators, and they also have one for adults as well. So if we go down here, we have avoiding cross contact. They have allergies in the classroom, allergy myths and misconceptions. These are really good, you guys. Also, too, you want to look at this section. I'm loving this, okay? Because this is like, if you don't have a new hire training piece, I would highly recommend that you take your new employees here, because I think this would be really good for them. So it talks about my student has a food allergy. What can I do to help? My classmate has a food allergy. What can I do to help? So it kind of helps the children learn about food allergies, and you guys help take care of people on a whole realm versus just the teacher's duty. What or how can a child might describe a reaction? This is the one part that I am going to say, if you do not, um, and if you are not familiar with this, you should definitely do it. Signs of allergic reaction in children. So when they're especially young, you want to look at how they're reacting. So they're putting their hands over their mouth, they're scratching their tongues, they're slurring their words, their voice may change, like maybe become hoarse or squeaky. Um, children might use words like this to describe a reaction. This food is spicy, my tongue is hot, or it's burning or tingling or itching. It feels like someone's poking my tongue. I mean, these are all really key components to a child um, saying that they're having a reaction. And when I was reading through this, you guys, literally, I had a pit in my stomach because I literally could think of 1,000 kids that have done this, and I didn't even think anything of it. And so make sure that you are keeping close watch of your little ones and making sure um, that they are safe, you know what I mean? And not just passing by and saying, "Oh, well, you don't feel good. It's just something they do every day," and it's actually something really serious. The other thing that I want you to keep in mind here is this training presentation program. This is what I was talking about if you're a new employee, or if you're not and you just have a lot of kids with allergies or maybe a few kids with allergies, this would be really great. So this is recognizing and responding to anaphylactics. So it goes over how you should be responding to them, what things can cause anaphylactic shock. You sign up down here and then they send you your code and then they send you the training. And so that is one piece that I want to definitely give to you. The next thing that I want to include here is this food allergy bingo. I think this is genius. The reason why is because if you're doing a staff meeting or you're leading out a staff meeting one day, or if you're like, you know what, we need this, can we please do this as a staff meeting? It has like an allergy bingo card and it talks about all of the different things that actually cause allergies. Also, it has some encouraging words on there to help you think about what kind of behaviors you should have and how brave people with allergies or the people that are administering help um, to these allergies. There's a couple of bingo sheets here. They've done a great job mixing everything up. And so they have a lot of safety precautions on there, such as make sure you label the food, make sure you know what's in the ingredients, make sure that you have things documented. A lot of people will use like a picture system where they have a picture of the child and the allergy um, that they have right next to it. I think that's super smart. One of the things that we are going to be coming out with is an allergy chart, but it's actually going to do like a quarterly check-in with a parent. So the parent actually has to sign off quarterly, and then you could keep that documentation over the year so that you could say, okay, this is how their allergy has changed or not changed. Because sometimes you have families that are like, oh, they don't have this allergy anymore once they do that allergy test. So that is basically what we're going to be focusing on. The next thing that I want to share with you, first of all, these 4 pieces are amazing. And the reason why is because it's a great reminder for teachers what they need to be focused on and how they need to be practicing certain types of practices to keep children safe. So it talks about cleaning and sanitizing, making sure you use that soap and water. In some states, we have that 3 to 4 step process. So make sure that you know which one you're supposed to be doing. Treat all surfaces, making sure that you clean them and you don't allow food to be prepared on them. Um, so that's a huge thing. Um, Clean and sanitize. So food preparation equipment, making sure that all of those utensils and things like that are being properly sanitized. Clean and sanitize tray and baking sheets after use. So like oil can seep through wax paper. That was something I did not know, or other liners that cause contact. So also washing hands. This is another fun fact that I didn't know about, but using appropriate hand washing procedures that emphasize the use of soap and water. There was a study done. They were talking about if you just use plain water and hand sanitizer, it's not effective removing those food allergies. So some of those centers that use a lot of hand sanitizer and they're not washing their hands, that is not good enough, and you are putting your children at risk for cross contamination. There's a great little PDF file that you can download here, so feel free to do that. I also want to go over this field trip form. The reason why I like this is because a lot of times kids are going to bring their own food to their field trip. Make sure that they're not sharing food. Make sure that the other child knows about, what foods they can bring and who can have what. Sometimes it's great for another kid to say, hey, you can't have that because it has this. And of course, don't, shout out the child's information because that is confidential. So you can't share with families about other people's medical information. So the other thing that I also like is this tips for treats. So they have a whole list here. A lot of times people will try to make up their own list, but they have lots of lists here of different things that people can bring in that are non-food items. So I hope this was helpful for you guys in this class. We are going to be diving into the next portion where we are going to be watching a video about a family that actually had a horrible event that took place with their little one due to food allergies. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today and learning more about how we can keep our children safe. Talk to you soon.